This is not a new Omega Aqua Terra. I'm sorry. In the last year, Omega has added quite a bit to the Aqua Terra line. Last summer, it added several references with a small seconds hand at 6 o'clock in both the 38 and the 41mm sizes. And this year, in 2022, Omega added a bunch of jewel-toned dials to the collection in the 34 and 38mm sizes. My favorite of these is the red. I like how vivid it is, there's no ambiguity about that color. And it wasn't all that long ago that Omega added the ultralight watches to the line, which finally addresses the market of people who have $50,000 and must spend it on a single Aqua Terra watch, like Brewster's Millions, but not at all. No, this isn't one of those new references. In fact, this configuration of the Aqua Terra came out in 2017 or 2018, a lifetime ago. So to all you suggesting that I review vintage watches, don't say I never listen. So why make a video about this watch now? Well, because someone just let me borrow it, but also, more importantly, this current Seamaster Aqua Terra remains a very appealing watch, and on paper, it stands up really well to its competition. Maybe that's why the Aqua Terra is likely the largest collection in the Omega catalog, with over 220 variations marked as in stock on the Omega website. There's something for everyone, unless you don't like the Aqua Terra, then there's nothing for you. This specific watch is the 220-12-41-21-06001. Omega reference numbers are actually legible if you know what you're looking at, but I'm not going to memorize how they code case materials or dial colors and the rest. But you can see from this reference number that this indeed is a 41mm watch. It's 47.5mm long and has a thickness that I measure at 13.3mm. It has 20mm lug spacings, is water resistant to 150 meters, and is anti-magnetic to 15,000 Gauss. The watch weighs 109 grams. This configuration here with the rubber strap and the deploying clasp has a list price of $5,500 US. For $5,400 you can get this on a leather strap, or a bracelet for $5,700. The mere $200 difference between the rubber and the steel options is rare at this price point. It seems like a steal. That's steel with an A, or both, I guess. I'm a bracelet guy, but I gotta tell you, I prefer the rubber to the Aqua Terra bracelet. A while back, I reviewed a green dial Aqua Terra, and I just couldn't get into that bracelet. The polished center links are the least of my issues, though I know that's a problem for many people. My main issue is the lack of micro adjustments. There are half links for the bracelet, but I desperately needed some on-the-fly system, especially for a watch that has a little heft to it, and I prefer that the bracelet taper was more than 2mm. And that's not to take anything away from this strap. This is a very, very nice strap. People talk about Omega's rubber game, and they're right. For me, this is right in the Goldilocks zone of not too thin or not too thick, not too flimsy or stiff, and I think it looks great. It's got a textile look, but it ain't textile. Seems like injection molded or formed to me. There's a woven texture in the center, and the edges are decorated with stitching that aren't holding anything together. The only purpose the stitching serves is to look interesting, and for that purpose, I think they work well. The strap comes with a steel deployant clasp that I don't hate, and that's high praise coming from me. I usually find deployants too bulky and too uncomfortable, and I don't have those problems with this one. The first time I saw this strap, I was confused by this metal piece in the middle of the end. Is that part of the case? Is it a separate element that's removable from the strap? What does it do? Turns out what it do is just look good. I never would have designed a strap this way, but when I look at it on my 7-inch wrist, I really like how it breaks up the monotony of the strap. Now let's take a look at this dial situation. There's a lot going on here, and for the most part I think it works well. The dial is metallic gray with a sunburst effect emanating from the center. It also uses the horizontal slatted teak texture that's common to many Aqua Terras. Around the edge of the dial is a sunken chapter ring with a matte finish, and where the 60, 15, 30, and 45 numerals are blue rather than white like the rest. The hands and markers are all blue and each have parts filled with superluminova. The application isn't very heavy, and I wish this glowed a bit brighter because, despite its price, this is a toy and I want to see all the pretty lights. The Omega logo is also blue and is vertically brushed. It's nearly impossible to see with the naked eye, but is a really nice detail. To whoever at Omega is responsible for this touch, I see you, and I appreciate you. And then there's the date window at 6 o'clock, which I love. The window is faceted and the date wheel matches the dial. It's all really tasteful and well balanced. Yes, you want a no-date version, I hear you. But it's worth considering that maybe this watch wasn't designed for you. I think the Omega Aqua Terra was designed for normies who want a very nice, go anywhere, do anything watch. I don't think this is aimed at collectors. I'm not saying a collector wouldn't enjoy this, I'm just saying that I think it's made for a broader audience. Just look at the style. Is it dressy? Is it sporty? Can you wear it surfing or biking? Or can you wear it out to dinner? I think the answer to all of those questions is yes. For me, that's part of the appeal of the Aqua Terra, and that's part of the reason I don't own one. Because my brain is broken, I have many watches. And because I have many watches, I have timepieces for different situations and occasions. So a watch that serves all situations and occasions is far too reasonable for my life. I mean, if I owned an Aqua Terra, I might not need my other watches, and that is the darkest timeline of all. Inside the watch is the Omega Caliber 8900. It's quite amazing, especially at the scale that they build this. The 8900 uses a coaxial escapement which should reduce the need for servicing. I already mentioned that it's anti-magnetic to 15,000 Gauss, and it's certified by Metas as a master chronometer. Well, the entire watch is. But specific to the movement is the anti-magnetism and the 0 to plus 5 seconds per day of accuracy. That means that Omega promises that your watch will not run slow. Wherever you're going, you're going to get there either on time or early, and in my opinion, that's the only life worth leading. The 8900 is decorated in an arabesque style, which I really like. It matches the modern design of the watch. My only complaint with the movement is its thickness. I feel like the watch should be at least a millimeter thinner, certainly under 13 millimeters total. This is an issue I have with many Omega watches, and it's clear that it's not a high priority for the brand, which is too bad. I'd love to see an 11mm thick Aqua Terra at this size. But it's not that the watch is uncomfortable on my 18cm wrist, not at all. It's great, especially on the rubber strap. I think I could happily wear either the 41mm or the 38mm versions of this watch. I think a lot of people could. If you're not sure about which size is right for you, get to a store and try some on. There are at least 3 Omega dealers where I live, and it's not a large city, so chances are you can get to one and you don't have to message me every day about which size you should get. I like this watch. I get why it's so popular. Depending on how you feel about Omega and the specs of the Aqua Terra, you might not find a better watch at this price. But again, that depends on how you feel. Like I said, this watch isn't for me, but I feel pretty confident recommending it to anyone who finds it attractive or interesting. If you like the Aqua Terra, there's a good chance you can find one that fits your style, your wrist, and if you're lucky, maybe even your budget.